My name is Ray. I'm the program coordinator at Saturday Academy for the ASE program, which is ASE Apprenticeships in STEAM Exploration. I am doing this solo, so I'm going to be monitoring the chat. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, I will be checking in on the chat. I might not get to it right away, but I will have my eye on it. Welcome. Thanks for attending. I'm going to get into it. Also, if anyone feels like having their camera on, it's immensely comforting to see people that you're presenting to. Hi, Shannon. Thank you. Hi, Nina. Hi, Sivy. And Ona. Appreciate y'all. Hi, Neela. All right. Is everyone able to see the screen okay? Sweet. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for your interest in the ACE program. There's really a wealth of information available about this program and how to apply on the website. But for the info session, I'm just going to be giving you like an overview of what the program is, and then actually walking you through kind of the first steps of the application so you can see what it's like to start one. The ACE program has a mission to provide students with meaningful career and real-world experiences that take place in the professional environment. Most students come out of the program with a better idea of what it means to be a professional and go on to college with an idea of what they might want to major in if they want to go on to college, oftentimes in the field that their internship was in. But that can sound like a little bit abstract. So here are some examples of positions that we've had in past years that are coming back again this year in some capacity. This is Ritika. She was a content creator at Northwest Documentary. And for her, the biggest highlight of her internship was seeing her work being showcased on social media platforms where people interacted with it. She was working in collaboration with the Flip Museum, which is a children's museum. So she was filming and producing and creating content for them alongside her mentor at Northwest Documentary. This here is Will. Will was a robotics engineer at the Agile and Adaptive Robotics Lab at PSU. And he was working specifically on this biomimetic robotics research, where he was working on a machine that mimics the running properties of a greyhound. And he said for him, his favorite part was the satisfying feeling of finishing a design and finally seeing his work contribute to the quadruped. That's also a position that we have again this year. This intern was at Nike working in the apparel lab last year, and she said that one of her favorite memories from the internship was experiencing the Breaking Four event, which is a major event where an athlete attempted to break their record and run a mile in under 4 minutes. And this intern said, like, I like to share this because it kind of shows an example of like, in addition to the technical skills that this person was learning, they also got to like participate in the culture and the community of the organization that they were working at. This is Maya, and she was working in the balance disorders laboratory at OHSU and in partnership with VA. And she was working directly with patients. And she said that the most memorable part of her internship experience was being able to observe the research process and see firsthand how it can directly impact the lives of individuals. And then finally, this is Nicole. She was working at the Oregon National Primate Research Center last year. And in addition to, you can see she's like working in the lab, she's picking up all these technical lab skills. But she also learned, this internship showed me that it's okay to not understand something at first, and that if I keep thinking through it, I will understand it eventually. I also saw that there's a big support group that I can reach out to if I need help. So I like that kind of learning opportunity as well that she had. So here is a list of some of the fields that we have available for ACE this year. Real quick in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand and unmute, just share what sort of fields you're interested in so I can get a little idea of what folks are here for.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Mila.
Yeah. So my son is in AP Physics and AP Calculus, and he's looking for a way to match this with something in the engineering field or biomedical engineering.
Awesome. Yeah, we definitely have some positions that are like a connection to those interests. I'm seeing film arts, computer science from Shannon, pre-med nursing from Kimberly, computer hardware engineering from Finn. Cool. Engineering, Ethan. Oliver says, I'm interested in environmental science and chemistry. Patrick says, biology, chemistry, healthcare. Molly says, healthcare, nursing. Sweet. Yeah, we have like a really good selection of internships kind of in all of these fields. So that's awesome. I'm at one point a little bit later, I will actually go into our internship catalog, and I can show you how to filter by fields. So you can really like narrow down what positions you might want to apply for. You can apply for up to three positions. Saibi says civil engineering, environmental science, and computer engineering. Sasha says biomedical engineering. Cool. That's awesome. So, what do interns do? What you're doing as an intern is going to vary on a date, like depending on what kind of internship you're doing and what field you're interested in. If you are in our like ecology internship, you're going to be more in the field doing field research versus like if you are in more of a computer science program, you might be indoors more often, like working in a computer lab. But one thing that all interns do is learn from and contribute to the work of their mentor. Who Parikshit says mechanical, aerospace, and robotics. Cool. Um, and then one other thing that all interns are going to do is present their work at our symposium, which takes place at the end of the summer. It's an in-person event where all ACE apprentices get together and they can invite their friends, they can invite their family, their mentors, the teams that they're working with, the people that they've gotten to know over the summer. They can all gather and really kind of celebrate the work that everyone has done throughout the summer. So that is one thing that all interns do is present their work in a symposium at the end of the summer, and that symposium is recorded and can be stored and accessed later if you ever want to share that for some sort of job opportunity or college opportunity. So, what exactly are these internships? They're in-depth career exploration and a chance to gain valuable professional experience. It's a chance to bulk up your skills if you know that there's a certain field you want to go into, or to get exposed to something completely new and learn hands-on if that's like something that you're interested in. And it's totally okay to change your mind. That's something that a lot of folks end up hearing from their mentors that they have done in their lifetime. One of our interns, Julia, said, This internship has shifted my perspective on what my life journey should look like. I feel a lot less stressed about finding the perfect career fit for me and instead trust that each decision I make will take me closer to where I want to be, regardless of if each choice is perfect. And I really like that as a takeaway from the program. So, what sort of events do we offer in addition to the professional experience? Um, our career explorations team has put together a couple of events for interns to connect over the summer. We have one in-person midsummer conference that is a really fun full day event of getting to know each other and doing fun workshops together and meeting other professionals. And then we also have more low stakes opportunities for folks to get together. We have lunch and learns, which take place virtually every week or every other week, where we bring in a professional from another field or from a similar field, and they talk about their work and answer questions. And it's just a really nice opportunity to learn a little bit more. And then depending on where you're working, like especially if you're at OHSU or PSU, somewhere where there are multiple interns in one spot, there are also like opportunities for co-working meetups, so sort of additional connections there. Who is eligible for the program? You have to be as you're applying either in ninth, 10th, or 11th grade. If you are graduating before this year, if you're graduating at the end of this year, you're technically not in high school anymore, and it is a high school program. So seniors are not eligible for the ACE program. You want to pay attention to the location of the internships. We have some positions in Corvallis, so just make sure that you are within like a reasonable travel distance to the positions that you're applying for. And then some positions are going to have different like prereqs or maybe age requirements. It really depends on the position. And when I go through the internship catalog, I can show you where to look for those prerequisites or any other sort of like age minimums. What is the time commitment for the ACE program? It is a pretty big time commitment, I will say right off the bat. Most of our positions are full-time positions, which means about 300 hours over the course of the summer, or about 8 weeks of kind of full 40-hour work weeks. You do get to work with your mentor to set your schedule, and that 8 week period actually takes place over like a span of 10 weeks. So there is flexibility. You're not like working every single day throughout the whole summer. But most positions, when they say full time, are going to mean about 300 hours. We do have some part-time positions if you're a student that is like needing to balance another commitment. There are some positions that are a little bit less of a heavy lift when it comes to the time commitment. And it'll say in the position description what the time commitment for each different internship is. Most positions are going to be in person. Some of them are going to be hybrid, and a few are remote. So when you are thinking about time commitment, also just be mindful of transportation time. Again, we have some some positions all the way out in Corvallis, but we also have like in the Portland metro area, like a span between like Beaverton and Gresham. So just be mindful of like, especially if you're taking public transit, like what sort of route would be realistic for the positions that you're applying for. When it comes to internship support, we have a lot of support available all throughout the whole process. Through the application process, which is now, the application opened in January and is open until March 6th. I'll repeat that again, but during the application window, we have workshops available for free for anyone that has started an application. Those workshops are for cover letter writing and for interview skills. I'll have a slide at the end of the presentation that you will be able to scan and sign up for any workshops you might be interested in. So that's some support that we offer throughout the process. Once the internship actually begins, we will be there to support you, but we also hire teachers over the summer to act as ACE advisors. And they're sort of students' first point of contact and sort of support system as you navigate a new working environment that might be like unfamiliar to you. They're a really helpful person to turn to for advice and support and just helping you sort of figure out how to navigate a new space. And you'll meet your ACE advisors and your fellow ACE peers. There are going to be about 40 ACE interns this year. You'll meet them all at orientation. Um, and finally, when it comes to support, I do want to point out that this is a paid internship. If you are working full time, you are paid in a learning stipend, and that stipend amount is $1,500 for a full-time position. If you're working part-time, if you're working part-time at 200 hours, then the payment is $1,000. And you get that payment, half of it at the beginning of the summer and then half of it at the end once you've completed the program. So why ACE? It is a pretty big time commitment, but there are a lot of cool benefits that come out of participating in the ACE program. Of course, if you're going on to college, it looks really good on college applications. It also really looks good on resumes if you're applying for jobs. You pick up so many useful skills, both like hard technical skills and soft skills, like communication and time management. But mostly like what I would emphasize is just like how it connects you to people who are already kind of like following their passions in fields that you're interested in. You get to build like a really big professional network, in addition to like working with your mentor, who's going to be like right at the top of their field. You're also generally working with a team of other people. Maybe it's coworkers, maybe it's grad students, but you really get to know a lot of people through participating in the ACE program. There are a lot of stories of folks who have been interns, gone on to college, gone on to have another job, and then like several years later reached out to their mentor or to people that they worked with as an apprentice and like have gotten jobs or like gotten connected to jobs through those people. So it really is just a great way to start building your professional network. And that sort of concludes the first part of the presentation, which is a bit of like more of an overview of the program. Um, I'm going to transition into what it looks like to actually apply. But before I do, I just want to pause and ask if anyone has any questions about what we have already gone over. Feel free to put them in the chat or unmute. Ah, okay. I cut off while talking about part-time compensation. Okay, heard. If you are working full-time, 300 hours, the stipend is $1,500. If you're working part-time at 200 hours, then the stipend is $1,000. Nina asks, will you be adding more internships in February? Yes, we're going to be adding internships throughout the month of February. And towards the end, I'll have a QR code for a mailing list that you can join so that you'll like see as each new position is added. But we're hoping to have like four more added by the end of this week. Saivi and Ona ask, is there a way where I can apply with a friend so we're able to have the same internship? That's really sweet. I wouldn't say like that you can do that. Like there's not you can't like specifically request to be with your friend. But there are like mentors that take more than one intern. Or also like I'll get into that in a second, but like also maybe you could both apply to like if you have the same interests, you could like apply to positions at OHSU and like maybe you're not in the same position, but like maybe you both get picked for positions at OHSU and then you can like have lunch together or whatever. Like you can certainly select all the same internships if there are like multiple um if mentors are taking multiple interns, but I would say like your chances of maybe just like working in the same like space are higher than like getting the same internship. That would be pretty, pretty special. But I love that question. That's really sweet. Um, Livy asks, what does day one of the internship start? The first day that you can start the internships is June 16th. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to. I know some students, depending on what school district they're in, like their school goes a little bit past that date. So you don't have to start on June 16th, but that's the first day that you can begin. I'm going to answer Sasha and then I will turn to you, Shannon. Sasha asks, is there a limit for how many internships I can apply for? Yeah, you can apply for up to 3 positions. Um, Shannon?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Um, my son uses a wheelchair, and I'm curious if there are any known, maybe less good options for an
Ooh.
internship for him.
Oh, that is a really good question. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the locations. Like I would imagine places like OHSU and PSU are like probably in a lot more compliance with
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sort of stuff. Um I wouldn't say necessarily that there are like any I can think of that like wouldn't work, but like definitely happy if you like reach out to me via email, I can like and let me know like what positions or if he can
Okay.
reach out to me and let me know what
Okay.
positions he's interested in, I can do like a
Okay.
little
That's
bit more
great.
digging. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Also, one more question. Do
Yeah.
you have a sense of kind of acceptance rates on these applications?
It is pretty competitive.
Yeah.
I think last year we got like over 400 applications for about 40 positions. So it
Okay.
is like a fairly competitive
Okay.
program.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nyla asks, when does the internship end? And what is the date for presentations? The last date that you can do your internship, I believe, is August 22nd, or whatever Friday is, like right around August 22nd. And then the date for the presentations is not officially set yet, but it will likely be in like the week before that cutoff date, August 22nd. You normally get like a week after the symposium to finish up your internship. And Sasha asks, what date will we know if we were accepted or rejected from the position we applied to? The like callback process takes about 2 weeks, I would say. So there's not an exact date, but normally like end of May or like midway through May is going to be we respond to everybody. So you will hear back about midway through May. Any other questions before I move on? Oh, Michael asks, how about taking vacation over the summer? Yeah, totally. Yeah, a lot of interns do that over the summer. If it's more than 2 weeks, that might be a little bit difficult, just to like get all those hours and like complete the work that you have to do. But as long as it's under 2 weeks, that's not a problem. What happens if your application isn't selected for the three internship options you choose? Is there a way to apply for additional positions afterwards? Good question. No. If your application isn't selected for any of the three positions, then the best option is to apply next year if you can. All right, I'm going to get moving, but please feel free to leave any additional questions in the chat. So now I'm going to take you through what it might look like to actually apply for the program. Are folks able to see the website that I navigated to? Thank you. So here I'm at saturdayacademy.org, and I'm going to go into programs. Here is the apprenticeships in STEAM exploration tab. If I'm just interested in learning more about the program, I might go into the overview. Lots of information in here, lots to digest. Special shout out to the ACE application guide, which has the answers to a lot of the questions you might have, and contact information for us if you are not able to find an answer to your questions here. But if I am interested in actually beginning the application process, I would go to the internship catalog. And here is where you can filter by disciplines. Scroll back up. Um, Oliver was interested in environmental science and chemistry. So I can go in and select chemistry and environmental science, apply those. And then here are like a filtered list of the positions that are available in that field. Here I will click on a position at OHSU, effects of genetic and environmental factors on the brain. I can read like a brief overview here, see what subjects it focuses on. And if I want to learn more, I would click on it. And that takes me into an even more in-depth description of what I can expect at this internship. Here it says like what kind of internship it is, how many hours is expected. And then up here, it also lists any sort of prerequisites. So like this position has a minimum age of 16. Um, So that's sort of how you would look for positions and screen which ones you want to apply for. If you're interested in one, you can hit Add Internship to Locker, and you can actually add as many internships as you want to your locker. Um, it's kind of a good like storage ground for anything that you might be interested in. This position focuses on coastal ecology. It doesn't have any like age requisite or age requirements or grade requirements, just a prerequisite interest in environmental science. So you can add that one to Locker. When you feel like you have all the ones that you're interested in, you would hit Go to your Locker. Here are all the positions. And at this point, you have to choose what positions you are going to rank, but you would hit apply for these internships. And that takes you into the first part of the application, which is the basic contact information. And that's how it all begins. I see Parikshit asks, do we know how many positions are available for each role? That's a good question. I actually don't think that that information is like listed in the position description, but if you want, you can like send me an email with the positions you're interested in, and I'll let you know what that number is. Tips for getting selected. My number one tip is to submit before the deadline. The deadline is March 6th, Friday, March 6th, like right at 11:59 p.m. And it is like a really firm deadline. The systems close after then, and we like turn around and start the matching process right away. And that deadline also goes for letters of recommendation, which I'll talk a little bit more about in just a second. But it's a good idea if you're interested in applying to start talking to your recommenders as soon as possible so that they have enough time to get their submission in. Another tip is just to participate in the free workshops that we have available. Again, we have cover letter writing workshops and interview skills workshops. Not all positions are going to interview, so you don't have to participate in those, but I'd recommend it. It's like really good training for the ACE program and also for any sort of job applications you might do in the future. Yeah, again, when it comes to requesting letters of recommendation, just make sure they know the deadline, ask them early, give them plenty of time. You can let them know what positions you're interested in, and so they can like write to your skills there specifically if you want to. You don't have to. And the letters of recommendation can come from any adult that knows you well that's not directly related to you. So a teacher, a counselor, a coach, a boss, a faith leader, anyone that knows you well. And if there is like a particular field that you're interested in, it's awesome if you can ask someone like a teacher that teaches that in that field, so they can really speak to your strengths there. Here is an example of the transcript that the kind of transcript that we're looking for. We want to make sure we have your student information, your school's information, and then the classes you've taken and the grades you've received in them. Most mentors aren't really looking like super closely at your grades. They more care about like what's in your cover letter and your letters of recommendation. So that's really just an opportunity to share like what classes have you taken? Like what do you already know? So the cover letter, I would say that for most students, the cover letter is probably the most like challenging part of the application, especially because a lot of folks haven't written a cover letter before. But a cover letter for this program is going to cover like why are you applying, why would you be a good intern, and how would an internship impact your life. We ask everyone to write at least one general cover letter that can kind of speak to your skills and your strengths more generally, not necessarily like in just one position or one field. But if there is like a position that you're really interested in, you can write like a tailored cover letter for that position as well. And again, to help you write your cover letter, we have some workshops available. I think we have one this weekend, and then they'll go through the next couple of weeks as the application cycle ends. So again, I would highly recommend signing up for those once I think the QR code is coming up soon. And one other thing is we really recommend writing your cover letters somewhere other than our website to start, like stored in Word or Docs. Sometimes glitches happen and like we don't want you to lose everything that you've worked on. And also it's good to reference in the future if you are applying to similar jobs. And here, I know someone asked in the chat if more positions were going to be added in February. This QR code will take you to a mailing list to join the mailing list. And that's where we will be sending out information about new positions being added. So I'll pause for a little bit if anyone wants to scan that. All right. I'm going to keep going, but I can go back to it at the end if anyone needs to scan it. And here is the QR code to register for workshops. Again, we have cover letter writing workshops and interview skills workshops. They're both free. Would highly recommend attending. They're just a really good learning experience for ACE and also for any sort of job applications that you might do in the future. Sweet. And this here is just a little plug for the other program that we run at Career Explorations at Saturday Academy. If like the ACE program is a bit too much of a time commitment for you this summer, we do have some opportunities to explore different career paths that are just one day events. They take place when school is out, like a teacher planning day, but your parents are still at work. Um, and um, we've had in the past, we had like a careers in film at Hollywood Theater. And coming up, we're going to have careers in food science at the Food Innovation Center. We're going to have careers in inclusive services at Columbia Regional Inclusive Services. So there's some cool opportunities to check out if that is something that you're interested in. And then finally, here is the email for this program. It is ASE, ASE at SaturdayAcademy.org. It'll be myself or the program manager, Allison, at the other end of the email. And we're here to just answer any questions that might come up through the application process or like during the internship experience itself. And that is all the slides that I have for you. But I will stick around until 7 if anyone has more questions that I can help answer. Thanks everyone for coming, and I hope it was an informative experience. Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Molly. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, Parikshit. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Nina. Thanks, Sasha. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, Shannon. Patrick asks, is there a rough estimate of how many total are accepted? Yeah, it's going to be about 40. Thanks, Oliver. Yes, Livy, I can go back to the slide before. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Alexandra. Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. Ooh, how many letters of recommendation should you have per application? Two. You can have more than that if you want to, but two is the minimum. Thanks, Nyla. Thanks, Livy. Thanks, Lucy. Ooh, CBS, does every internship have an interview? Not every internship is going to have an interview. No, I'd say it's maybe like 50-50. Ooh, when do you have to be the age required by the internship? By June 15th. It's gonna say like in the position description, but yeah, June 15th is the cutoff. All right, I'm gonna sign off, but if you have any additional questions, here is the email one more time. It's ase@saturdayacademy.org.